I loved Index magazine, as you
Yeah.
know. I loved it. I thought it was beautiful, and
Thank
I'm
you.
Tunbridge Wells born and bred, so something to be very proud of.
And the night before it went to print, I put the boards on the desk, and the cleaners came and thought they were rubbish.
They did not.
So, where's my presentation?
Hi, I'm Nicole, and welcome to the Big Chat. And I am very excited today to be chatting to the legend that is Steve Gurney of IndexDigital. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Nicole. How are you today?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good.
It's a bit gloomy out there, but thank you for joining us in our humble podcast studio here. What do you think?
Lovely. Very, very snazzy. Very nice. Yeah.
You might recognise a bit of the artwork, a bit of the surroundings.
Yeah, very you. Very you.
It's good to talk to you today.
Yeah.
I've known about your endeavours for some time, Steve, being in media myself, but I thought it would be great to have a chat with our audience, with you, and about where you came from, how you got to do what you're doing, and obviously tell us a bit more about IndexDigital and what's happening there. Because for some people, they might know you for magazines and certain print, and obviously now everything that you're doing has got much more of a digital arm to it. So we would love to hear about that. So start us at the beginning. I know you're very young, but start us at the very beginning. How did you get into all of this?
Well, I was travelling. I spent 5 years travelling, and during my travels, I met somebody in South Africa, and she had family back here, and we ended up getting married. And when we came back, I sort of had no idea what I was going to do with my career, or no real plans. And these two guys in Tunbridge decided to start up a magazine based on Time Out in London.
Wow.
Because Time Out was quite big.
Yeah.
So I said, well, how can I help? Because I was sort of floating about it. It's her brother and a friend of his. So they said, well, why don't you try and sell advertising? So I said, okay. So because I knew the travel business, I went to London and got involved with all the bucket shops up in London.
Yeah.
And sold travel. So we launched this magazine called Switch in Tunbridge.
Amazing.
I won't say how long ago because that will give too much away.
Only a few years, Steve.
A couple of years.
Yeah.
So we launched the magazine, and that's how I kind of got my first taste of publishing.
Goodness me.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I did not know that. So how long did that adventure go on for?
It was basically a load of kids.
Yeah.
Who had
some fun.
We had some fun. It only made about 5 or 6 editions.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have a huge amount of money, and it was paid for by advertising, and magazines weren't really around then.
Yeah.
So it was very new. We thought, would be the next Time Out for Tunbridge and Tunbridge Wells.
Brilliant.
So the idea was good, but the people behind the idea perhaps didn't have the experience or the backing.
Yeah.
So it lasted a few issues, but it kind of set me up as, that's an area that I can go into.
Yeah. So what happened after that? What was next?
Right, okay, what was next?
You can't just stop there, Steve.
After that, I think I got approached by the Courier.
Yeah.
And they sort of said, do you fancy a go at advertising sales? So I went to work for the Courier for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Locally. My first really successful stint with the Courier was putting together a business supplement for them, which I sold advertising for, and we conceived an idea. And then in those days, everything was put onto boards. So it was photographed on boards, and then made plates. So obviously that was the process. And I spent about a month working on this feature, which was really successful, sort of 16 pages in the Courier. And the night before it went to print, I put the boards on the desk, and the cleaners came and thought they were rubbish. They
did not.
So the start of my career, I was in my wellies in the rubbish bins outside the Courier looking for these 16 massive pages of print. So that was my start.
Did you find them?
Eventually I found them all. We had to put it back together because they kind of folded them, and so we had to put it all back together again. But it was an interesting experience. But in those days, it was a new idea. So features and supplements were a fairly new idea. So it really went well.
Yeah. Brilliant. And I mean, obviously that's still going.
Yeah.
It's a staple part of our town here.
Yeah.
So you've seen a lot change in media over the years, print and media, I imagine.
Technology, yes, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, certainly probably accelerated the past 12 months, I'd say, even more so the last 8 months during lockdown. How have you sort of, what's been your feeling of what's been going on recently? How's that been affecting you, Steve, and what you're doing?
Well, we've had the magazine now for 26 years. I launched the Index in '94. It had 7 or 8 years ago, it had a real peak. It was doing really well. Since then, sort of with the advent of social media and the internet and those sort of things, it's kind of taken a big share of the advertising revenue. So it's made advertising, which has to pay for the publication, slightly harder to generate, and the yields are harder to get. So we sort of made the switch at the start of COVID from magazine to digital.
Yeah.
At the beginning of COVID, we had 3 magazines, printing about 80,000 copies a month, and we've switched completely online now. So we stopped the magazines altogether and launched IndexDigital.co.uk.
Which, I like that.
Had to get that plug in.
Very well.
Had to get the plug in.
IndexDigital.co.uk. But brilliant and bold and great and very positive, because actually you've had a really great experience, haven't you? I mean, I loved Index magazine, as you know. I loved it. I thought it was beautiful, and I'm Tunbridge Wells born and bred, so something to be very proud of. But times are changing, and that's okay. It's not all bad. There's good things to come out of that, and you've had a good experience, haven't you, Steve? From what you've talked to me about. I mean,
I think magazines will always be around. I think there'll always be a market for them. I think advertisers like being on paper.
They do.
But the beauty of being online is that, from my point of view, firstly, our carbon footprint has massively dropped. So I don't have that sort of thought anymore that we've got lorries driving around and paper being printed and all of those sort of issues. And it's a much more exciting field. I think, magazines and newspapers is not the past, but it's a more traditional field. And I think the power of the internet and all the new bits of software that are coming out and all the apps that are coming out, it's absolutely incredible what can be achieved. So for me, it's a very exciting thing. And I've learned a lot about social media, how to make social media work, how to use Google Analytics to the best effect. So it's very exciting.
And you've mentioned the carbon footprint. You've mentioned this a couple of times. We've had a cheeky cup of coffee when we were allowed. Then you've mentioned that. So that's important to you, isn't it, Steve?
I think in this modern age, actually in terms of print, our carbon footprint was okay because they were recyclable trees. They're trees they're trees that are grown for print. But I think the processes of getting the magazines delivered, getting them over here from the paper over here, that, as I said, that will always continue. But from my point of view, it just feels, I think that's a slight benefit in terms of going online only.
And are you finding now that because you are doing Index Digital, are you getting to go out? I mean, you've obviously always seen a lot of people, but I imagine with the magazine, maybe you were stuck in your tower a bit more sometimes. Maybe you're out and about a bit more. I've seen you out and about a bit more. You're getting to talk to people a bit more again.
Yes.
Not now is probably not the best time.
Not with COVID.
Not with lockdown
Not with
clearly.
lockdown. It's a slightly different concept really, because when you produce magazines, you basically say to the advertiser, we've printed 30,000 copies, we're putting them through 30,000 doors. So that side of the objective is over. And then they advertise on the basis of what you've achieved. With the web, it's kind of the opposite, because you're almost initially chasing the visitors to your website. So the priority at the moment is really about visitors, and then advertisers will come later. We have a few advertisers on there, and we're charging very favourable rates at the moment. But when we establish our target visitors in a year or 2 years, then obviously that will make the website a hopefully different proposition.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a slightly different way of chasing business, really.
Yeah.
So out and about, good question. Not at the moment, but I do still wander around Tunbridge Wells.
You might see Steve.
Yeah.
Often down the Pantiles end of town.
Having a coffee.
It was a few
society.
favourite places. Well, I mean, I think last time I saw you, there was like food there's all sorts of things going on in some of these shops down there that I didn't even know, which is fantastic. How have you found, I mean, obviously you are very well known in the town, and you know lots of people in the town. You've lived here, I mean, most of your life, I would say. Would that be fair to say?
Bit. Yeah, fair bit.
So I mean, how have you found, people have found the last few months? Obviously everyone's had a very different experience, but certainly businesses and community, what have your feelings? Has it changed from the beginning of lockdown to now?
I'm amazed at how many businesses have survived. I think it's incredible that the amount of businesses, considering what's gone, have survived. They've done really, really well. There haven't really been that many, certainly local businesses that I'm aware of have gone.
No.
And it's amazing how people have adapted, actually. You know, as you say, with the coffee shops and the restaurants, you know, a lot of them have adapted and doing takeaway.
Yeah.
If you go to Tunbridge Wells, you can, you know, you walk down the high street, you can pretty much get whatever you want.
Absolutely.
And a lot of it is online as well. So I think in a way, I think COVID's quite good because it's made everyone change the way they work a little bit, and it probably overall will improve our lives.
I think so.
Because we'll learn to adapt. And lots of business people are working from home, lots of staff are working from home, and maybe mix and matching, you know, 2 days at work, 2 days at home.
Yeah.
So I think from that point of view, it's definitely a benefit.
So what are you, I'm just going to ask you this because I can. Yeah. What's your favourite things to do in Tunbridge Wells? In normal circumstances, obviously. I've always wanted to ask you this question. You're normally the person asking this question. So what's your favourite things to do in and around your town? You must have your sort of favourite places to go, or
yeah, I do. Because I'm at the bottom end.
Don't give too much away. You'll have paparazzi outside.
I know. I'm trying not to give away where I actually
stalkers.
Stay.
I'll be there.
Yeah. There's loads of good cafes. The Pantiles is obviously fantastic. I love the Pantiles. Yeah. I have a great walk, which goes up the common past the cricket ground and along down there. Some beautiful walks around the common. Great restaurants, great pubs. You know, where my office is, there's 4 pubs, 3 takeaways, 4 restaurants. It's all kind of there. So it's a great place to be at the moment. Lots of fantastic places in the town. I mean, obviously at the moment with everything shut, it's shopping wise. I'm not a big shopper anyway at the best of times, but shopping wise, it's perhaps not quite as, you know, it could be a lot better. But I think that will improve in time. There's new businesses opening up all the time. I saw yesterday there's 3 new businesses planning to open in the immediate high street area.
Yeah.
So there's always people who are looking for new ideas and looking to open up new businesses. So
we do seem to have a very entrepreneurial sort of town, don't we? We do seem to have a lot of people that independents and businesses, and like you say, I've noticed a couple that have popped up. You know, if someone goes, there seems to be something very quickly comes in, doesn't it? Which is encouraging.
Which is good, yeah.
What have you found? Like, what's your best ways to relax as well over like lockdown? Because you do seem pretty chilled out, Steve.
Do I?
Yeah, you do. I mean, I don't know whether you're like a swan, you know, like myself, where I'm the opposite of a swan. I'm sort of flapping around and at the top, but you seem very, very chilled out.
Do I? That's probably slightly misleading. I have my moments, trust me. What do I do to relax? Well, before lockdown, I'm pretty sporty, so I play a bit of tennis, a bit of golf, a bit of cycling. I've done loads of cycling.
Yeah.
Cycling's great during lockdown. It's really, really picked up and is brilliant. Loads of lots more walking. Golf, tennis, all sorts. Yeah, just the sort of leisure stuff, really like that. Yeah.
And actually, I think I was thinking about that. A bit of kayaking's been going on, hasn't it?
Yes.
Bit of kayaking, which I'm trying to get into some of that action. Although I'm not so sure about the weather at the moment with it.
No, it's maybe the wrong time of year. But actually, now's the time to do it. Actually,
is it?
If you go to for instance, you go to the Medway, get yourself a kayak and just jump in, not jump in the water, jump in the kayak. It'd be beautiful. Not that I've been, but it is. I imagine it's beautiful.
Yeah,
the trees and everything.
Yeah.
So again, we've got some fantastic. I mean, it's amazing what we have around. And I think a lot of people have discovered that. A lot of people have discovered the benefits of the local area we live.
Definitely.
You know, how good the walks are, how beautiful an area we live in. We're extremely lucky.
Yeah.
So that's been another good thing, really, of lockdown, is it's taught us all to kind of look at our lives a bit differently and make more of what's around with nature.
I think so. I think taking a moment to pause and just appreciate what you've got as well has been important.
Yeah.
I mean, so obviously the big chat is going to be a members. Well, it is. It's a business collaboration members club, which at the moment we're just chatting as we are now, because we can't actually really, other than our good selves, be in the presence of like-minded business owners. But with IndexDigital, so I know I've used you for some of our podcasts. It's a fantastic platform for businesses and entrepreneurs out there that they might be new or they might be existing. What would you, if you were going to say to them to do something with IndexDigital, what would you say to do? What's the opportunities there that you've got at the moment? I know that you've got PR that can be published, haven't you? Or there's,
Yeah.
you know, tell us a bit about what you can offer businesses out there to help. So I think at the moment, that's why we wanted to do this now, is to help boost businesses and help to get them heard and get their voice out there. And obviously that's what you do as well with Index Digital. So what, you know, come on, sell me something. Sell me something, Steve.
I'm under pressure.
You don't have to sell me something.
Where's my presentation? Where's all my sheets? You
Those
never warned me
days are
I'd have
over.
to sell.
Those days are gone. But no, what would you say if it was a new business? If someone was coming into the town and they didn't know much about the town, but they wanted to get out to the local audience, what could they do with Index?
Well, I sort of think you know, now it's slightly different in that it's probably a bit more collaborative now.
Yeah.
So what I kind of like is editorials, web editorials. I think they're quite good, where we offer editorial writing.
You do that,
services.
don't you? Yeah, it's great.
So if you need something written, we can provide it for you. And we collaborate to write an article about your business. And then we get a picture and we post the article on the homepage. And then the two of us collaborate. So we've both got our social media followers. We've both got all our different social outlets.
Yeah.
So we push the article out to those outlets. We've got sort of 30,000 followers.
Yeah.
So we push it out to the outlets as well as it's sitting on the website. So I think that sort of collaboration is quite exciting. We tend to charge a bit more on a time basis. So it's not as expensive as an advertorial in a magazine.
It's great value.
It's fantastic value.
IndexDigital is great value.
Well, to be honest, we don't have all the print costs, the distribution costs. We don't have all those overheads. So it does tend to be better, cheaper.
I think you're very
value.
realistic, and I think I think it's great because I think those personally some businesses I think have sort of panicked a bit and gone, oh, it's going to cost this much now, and sort of hiked prices up to things, and we're all in the same boat. And I think you know it's great that what you offer, like you say, 30,000. That's a big audience of people to get to talk to. So basically, you'll write my article for me, you'll photograph me, you'll publish it all, and you'll get it out there. And maybe I get to have a slice of cake and a cup of coffee with you.
Exactly. Exactly. And we work together on getting the max out of it, and we can see what happens. We can see how it works. So
we might well get you to come along and visit us at our Big Chat members monthly, might we, Steve? You might well mix a little bit. If I get a few, I don't know what your tipple is, but if I can maybe tempt you with a tipple or two, then we might get you along to meet a few of our businesses and entrepreneurs. So I'm sure they'd be interested to hear a bit more about what you're up to.
Definitely.
So, but positive news from you. And
thank you.
I think it's brilliant what you're doing. And I think, you know, bold step to go 100% digital, but a really positive one. And it's been really successful. And we're very, very happy for you there. So thank you for coming to talk to us today.
Great chat.
Great chat.
Great
Always
big
about
chat.
the great.
Lovely.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.